This holiday season, people who have a lot to buy will find a lot to like in the Walmart price. This AT&T remote answering system is just $49.96. Ladies' all cotton terry cloth robes are just $25.96 each. Or choose the Walmart gift certificate. It's always the right gift. The longer your list, the more you'll like it. The Walmart price. 'Tis the reason you'll be jolly. Walmart. Always.
If you want to raise your kids to be responsible and self-sufficient, there's something that really works. Garbage. And laundry. And lawn mowing. And dishwashing, too. You see, giving your kids even one chore a day helps them build a real sense of responsibility. And that's something they can carry with them the rest of their lives. Unlike garbage.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, a perfect holiday gift, rated PG.
I'm John.
Hi, John!
John is on the rebound,
You still in touch with your wife?
Only by check.
so he's joined a singles club.
And I've seen lively faces with tags on their toes.
Judd Hirsch is John. Dear John, Wednesday's corporate animal J.C. Wyatt has a new responsibility.
So who's going to sign for this?
She's an executive on the run
I gotta go.
and a mommy on the move.
You were a good girl in there.
I gotta go.
Me too.
Kate Jackson has it all in Baby Boom. Saturdays, Harry's got a weird neighbor,
Please.
a feisty daughter,
When do you sail next, Charlie?
Tuesday.
Sink.
and a playful daughter.
I have a date.
How can you have a date? You haven't been to bed yet.
I'm combining the two.
From the creators of The Golden Girls, Richard Mulligan stars in Empty Nest, one of 3 great new comedies.
Sitcom, all ye faithful, a Christmas podcast special. And for the 5th time I discussed 25 Christmas sitcom episodes. Please come and listen as we count down to Christmas. You should see Mr. Wilson, Tom Hanks, and Danny Thomas. Sherman Hemsley will return, and we head back to Springfield. We're definitely spending Christmas in Springfield.
Christmas! Hi, honey. I'm home.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Let's get this one started. Dear John, dear John, by the time you read these lines, I'll be gone. Life goes on, ba-doop-a-doop-doop-doo, right or wrong, ba-doop-a-doop-doop-doo. Now it's all been said and done, dear John. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's day 10 of Sitcom, Are Ye Faithful? Yes, for the 10th day in a row, I'm here talking about Christmas sitcoms to all of you and even that other guy. See, look across. See that guy in the headphones? Him too. Today, I'm going all the way back to the early 90s to discuss a show that started in the late 80s, a show starring a man who is, I would say, sitcom royalty and also sitcom All Ye Faithful royalty. I'm talking about Mr. Judd Hirsch, most likely known for his starring role as the grandfather in The Fabelmans or the grandfather in The Goldbergs. The other grandfather, not George Siegel, and of course, that little that show he did with Bob Newhart. Remember, they were like cartoonists or something. And of course, he played Alex Rieger. I almost said Alex P. Keaton. Alex Rieger on Taxi, which is has become Eric's show of Sitcom All Ye Faithful. Even though I tried to get him to give me a break his show, he pulled me back to Taxi last year. So hopefully there's another Taxi episode. And if so, this isn't the last time you will see Judd Hirsch this month. But today I went back to 1991 to talk about his second foray into the situation comedy Dear John. This show ran for 4 seasons from 1988 to 1992, and I'm catching it on its 4th season as I feel like it's going, I feel like NBC committed to a season and now it's just kind of letting the show go away. And I have a reason for that. But before I get there, I wanted to mention that this is actually, I did not know this until today, that Dear John is a remake of another British series called Dear John that only premiered 2 years earlier. It was a 1986 British sitcom that then turned into a 1988 American sitcom. And I remember as a kid thinking, wow, this show was really funny. And Jerry Burns as Kirk was like a great standout performance. And as I watched the episode today, I thought the show was fairly formulaic sitcom, nothing much going on. Like, it was okay enough. None of the characters stood out except Jerry Burns as Kirk. And that's because Jerry Burns is a great actor, and I pretty much love him in everything he does. Even when he's an evil guy on Justified. Like, oh, he was scary on Justified, but he was Kirk on Dear John. That's what I knew him from first. Now, if you asked me what the show was about maybe 3 days ago, I'd say it was about a divorced guy who was in like a group therapy, like a therapy group. And I was not really right. It's kind of like he joined a group, a support group, not really like therapy, but just a group of people who, like, I don't think there was anyone running meetings or anything. I think they just were there for each other, of all divorced people. And I watched it on its 4th season, which means the people that I'm looking at on the Wikipedia page, the original cast, they're not all there. There's like a nerdy guy there. He's not there anymore. I guess they replaced him with a few other people. I think Billy Birdie, she was the grandmother from 16 Candles. I believe she was in it almost from the beginning, but later on became a regular of the show. So I guess it's basically the life of grown adults, the life of the divorcee and dealing with other divorcees, right? I guess, is divorcee, sounds so French. Divorced people. Remember in Mad Men when they had a divorced neighbor? They're like, oh my God, that woman down the street, she's the divorcee. That's crazy. So here's why I think this show was on its last legs. Because originally this show started out on Wednesdays. They moved it to Thursdays. They moved it to Fridays. They moved it to Saturdays. I think this was on a Friday evening when I first watched when this episode first aired. But this was a Christmas episode of a sitcom, and it aired as a brand new episode December 27th. They put this show on Christmas week, a brand new episode of a show 2 days after Christmas, a Christmas episode after Christmas. So that tells me that NBC was just like, yeah, you know what? We have the show. We've committed to it. We have this new episode. Just throw it up at 9:30 p.m. on a Friday night, which is like the doldrums of network television. Fridays and Saturdays, I think, are considered Saturdays. Hear that accent coming through? Fridays and Saturdays are like the worst. I feel like those were the dead spots for TV, except when I was a kid, I thought Saturday nights was the cat's pajamas. You know, like we'd go out for dinner with my family. First we'd go to 4:00 Mass, then we go out for dinner. Then I'd come home and be like, all right, I'm ready. Facts of Life, 227, Golden Girls, Empty Nest, like Amen. I mean, all the greats were on Saturday night as far as I was concerned. But seeing now a brand, not if this was a week before or if this was a repeat or anything, but a brand new episode of a show on a Friday night after Christmas, when I feel like it should be, you feel like that's when shows would take their fall break, their winter break, maybe, I don't know. This episode was okay. Everything about it was okay. Finding it was difficult because it's not streaming anywhere, and it's put up on YouTube in like 3 different chunks, and it was cut off a little bit at the beginning, but I was able to find it in archive.org. Somebody put up the full episode. It's not very good quality, which is why the image, I tried cleaning it up as much as I could. The image that you see, that's the best one I could get, is not that great either. At one point, I was going to Photoshop a better picture of Judd Hirsch's head onto the picture. It just looked weird. So I got it off archive.org. The audio wasn't great. Everything about it was like, why are you doing this, Mike? And I said, I'm doing this because I remember the show was really funny. And it was okay. I chuckled a few times, mostly, I would say maybe completely because of Kirk and Jerry Burns. And him and Judd Hirsch do have good chemistry because Judd Hirsch is like, he's a teacher and, he's John, that's his name. And he's very much like, very, like, seems more conservative guy, like a very traditional dude. And Kirk, he's the ladies' man. How you doing over here? And another thing about the Dear John, I guess, is an actual thing. A Dear John letter is someone gets a letter when, like, they're being left, I guess. And that's a play on words, Dear John, and the theme song, Dear John. But what's funny is I wanted to get the lyrics right exactly because I didn't know them. I always knew the song. The song was always fairly popular. Not fairly popular. Fairly... it was a well-known theme song. I think, to me, it was always just like in my head, even without even remembering the show that much. I remembered, by the time you read the lines, I'll be gone. But I didn't know the lyrics exactly. So I found a website called classic-tv.com, and they had the lyrics there. And I started reading them, and I said, this doesn't seem right. Because it says, Dear John, by the time you read these lines, I'll be gone. Life goes on, right or wrong. Okay, now here's the line that screwed me up, and I looked it up on a different website. Here's where it looked. I found another website called moviechat.org. It says, life goes on, right or wrong. Now it's all been said and done, Dear John. But classictv.com has life goes on, right or wrong. Now the sun is dead and gone, Dear John. So I was originally singing this going, now the sun is, and it's S-U-N, like the sun has died, the earth is cold. The sun, now the sun is dead and gone, Dear John. Like that is, I love it. And if I ever see this show ever again, I'll always think of now the sun is dead and gone, Dear John. Which was just excellent. It says the theme song is by John Sullivan and performed by Wendy Talbot. Now, Wendy was also the name of his wife on the show. So he's a divorcee. He has a kid. I guess for the first couple seasons, the kid was played by Ben Savage. I never saw the kid. The kid was not mentioned in this episode at all. Basically, they're throwing a show at the school or something. I don't know. I was like, who are these kids? I came in, haven't seen an episode of the show in 30 plus years, and I didn't know he was a teacher. All I knew is he wore the worst 90s sweater, and there was another guy on the show who also wore the worst 90s sweater. He was one of the guys they brought in, this guy I know mostly from Hot Shots. Maybe was he in Father of the Bride? No, I think I'm mostly know him from Hot Shots. He has a very familiar face, and he's not part of the group, but then he's dating the woman who's part of the group, who's this British woman who I thought was much older than him. And I thought she was like the hoity-toity, like older woman. And at one point she puts her kid, she goes, we have to put him to sleep because she's going to have a Christmas party. So she closes the door quietly and then proceeds to talk like she's in a stage show, projecting to the last member in the last row of the audience. It was dumb. It was very much like, I feel like I'm watching people act on stage instead of being on a show trying to act somewhat normal. Her and a boyfriend, so they were going to have a nice quiet night of Christmas alone, but then they found out some of the other people in the group were not going to have Christmas with who they thought they were going to be, because one of them is dating a cop who has to deal with a homicide, I think. How selfish of that person to die. Another one didn't want to go home and sit at the kids' table, I think. I don't know. And so they all end up going to this party, but the couple was fighting because he wanted to be alone with her, even though she's got a son. And for some reason, they put the son to bed, and he's trying to build a tricycle on Christmas Eve. And then they're decorating the tree, and he starts throwing tinsel. They're having a tinsel fight. Who's going to cover the tree in tinsel? It was very sitcomian. It was, sitcomin. It's a common trope in sitcoms, is sitcomin. I'm sure I didn't come up with that. But it was very much like tropey. That's just how it felt. Now, back at the school, I want to say. Maybe they were going to have Santa there, a show for the kids, and they were going to have Santa there. Now, there's a woman there who wasn't at the beginning. She wasn't at the first season, but so I didn't realize. I'm coming in again on the fourth season. She's a wannabe actress, but she didn't get Romeo and Juliet, so now she's stuck helping John with the party. Meanwhile, Kirk is there too to help John with the party. Santa is late. Santa shows up, and Santa is depressed because Santa's, he misses his wife. He's going through a divorce himself, and he starts saying he's missing this woman. He keeps saying this woman's name over and over, and he's missing her. And they're like, I don't care, Santa, go out there and be with the kids. He goes, I can do it. So he goes out to be with the kids. Then he runs back. He's like, I can't do it. And he starts talking about this woman. He goes, you know what? Like, Judd Hirsch's character kind of makes him see the error of his ways. He goes, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go tell her that I don't need her anymore, and I'm going to go back to my wife. They're like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, my wife is this person. The girl I'm talking about is my girlfriend. So you realize he's just a two-timing slug of a guy. So that was funny because while this is where Kirk swooped in and said, your wife, is she busy tonight? Like the way he said that made me laugh. And then the other thing that was kind of funny was Kirk, he knows a guy that's going to get the Christmas candy 50% off, but it's all Halloween candy. So he's like, you know how hot it is to get Halloween candy at Christmas time? Like he's doing him a favor. So that was kind of funny. It was like watching Jerry Burns just put on a character. It's like, let me be like a douchey Fonzie that is like over the top, and but I don't stop. But then it's like, who's going to be Santa? The guy finally leaves, and they're all going to freak out, and then of course Kirk comes out and he is Santa. Now while they're trying to get Santa to come out and see the kids, all the kids are sitting there like, we want Santa, and they tell the actress girl, hey, why don't you tell them 'Twas the Night Before Christmas? And she's like, I only know a little bit. So she starts saying it. She doesn't really know it. Then we cut back to her later, and she's doing a full monologue of Romeo and Juliet. Now she goes all the way to the point where she poisons herself and she falls down, and they're like, when's Santa going to come out? And she's like, she said something that was a kind of a funny line. And that was the punchline of it. Like, I wish Santa was here. She's like, me too, with my bleeding heart. I don't know. I don't remember the line. But the thing that I thought would have been funnier is if she did this whole monologue of like, and it looks like the kids are bored, and she does this whole thing, and she poisons herself and she dies. And then they just start clapping. The kids are really into it. And the kids loved her monologue as Romeo and Juliet. And then they're like, and then they're now ready for Santa. Like just something like that. That would have been a funnier joke. Yes, I am rewriting the show, and I am telling them, the professional comedy writers from 30 years ago, that I had a better joke and a better punchline for that moment. But a lot, and that's the first thing I thought of was, it would have been funnier. I was expecting one of the kids to love it, at least one of the kids. Even if like all the other kids were bored and one kid stood up and he was like, this is amazing. Like that would have been funny. But for the most part, I thought, wow, this isn't really that great. But then at the end, they all sing Christmas carols around the piano. And you're like, oh, you still get in the Christmas mood. And that's pretty much it. That was Dear John. John basically just dealt with this Santa back at the school, I guess, or the rec center. I don't even know. I don't even know where they were. And I watched it today. You can watch it in spurts on YouTube. Oh, the episode's called Twas the Fight Before Christmas because I guess not really dealing with John, but you had the two people that were in the apartment together fighting. Then you had their guests. They started fighting. Everyone was fighting. And so I suppose that's why they called it that. There were two older people. Is it Billy Birdie? Is that her name? And she wasn't there for pretty much the whole episode, but she's at the end singing Christmas carols with them. And yeah, it was a lot of meh. It was okay. It was like nothing where I thought, oh man, this is heartwarming or it's bringing back memories. Nothing really. I kind of remember watching this show over a friend's house, and I remember, thinking Kirk was funny, and that's how it was now. I kind of think Kirk was funny, and the rest of it was, kind of just par for the course. But as I said, this aired 2 days after Christmas, Friday, December 17th, 1991. So 1991, December 27th. There is a good chance that I'm in Disney World at this time. I think it's either 90 or 91, but I believe I am in Disney World. Now it's funny that the guy that I remember watching the Dear John at his house is also the guy who my brother and I went with his family to Disneyland. And it's weird. If this is all true, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit, because I just found out yesterday that his father passed away, who was watching Dear John and brought us to Disney World. So that's a weird thing. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit, if I am correct. I remember going to Disney World in 1991, being there after Christmas, being there for New Year's Eve. So maybe it was the 27th, maybe it was the 26th, but I remember going, and I think we were there, and we were there for New Year's Eve, and yeah, wow. That's wild. But let's talk about what was on TV. So I was definitely not watching this on December 27th, 1991. Fox just had a movie special because, again, it's after Christmas. Air repeats. They had The Fly 2, starring, what's his name, who was not Marty McFly, but, Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz was The Fly 2, right? And then Daphne Zuniga from Spaceballs. Is there a movie called Space Girls? It probably is, but it's probably in that section of the old video store that you're not supposed to go into. On CBS, again, interesting. They had the Disney Christmas on Ice. That was a repeat. But then at 9 o'clock, a new episode of The Carol Burnett Show with Robert Townsend. So it was probably a special. It was definitely from 9 to 10. I would say it's more of a special thing because Carol Burnett was not on in the 90s, so maybe she did specials every so often. And Robert Townsend was a very popular comedian at the time, and he had his own show, right? His HBO specials, and he was very popular at the time. Was he Meteor Man, I think? And then at 10 p.m. there was a special called The Meaning of Life. I don't know anything about that. ABC aired nothing but repeats because it's 2 days after Christmas, except a brand new 2020 at 10 p.m. But 8 o'clock, Family Matters, 8:30, Step by Step, 9 p.m., Perfect Strangers, and 9:30, Baby Talk. Family Matters, Step by Step, and Perfect Strangers have all been featured on Sitcom All Ye Faithful. Baby Talk has not. Is that the show with Scott Baio? I think so, before he went cuckoo bananas, or maybe we just didn't know. And then, of course, we're talking about NBC. What was on NBC that night? Well, it was a repeat, because again, December 27th, a repeat episode of Matlock, followed by brand new episodes of Pacific Station. What the hell is Pacific Station? I don't remember this at all, but I'm going to look it up. I know it's a sitcom starring Robert Guillaume. Yes, Benson from, are they Cops? It's American sitcom televised from Robert Guillaume and Richard Libertini. Wasn't he from Fish? It aired from 1991 to 1992. It was completely, it was canceled after one season. It made 13 episodes, 2 of them on air. So it only aired 11 episodes before they canceled it. Robert Guillaume they were detectives in the 1990s. Now he was born in 1927. So he would have been only in his 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 27. He would have been in his 60s. He's almost ready to retire. And Richard Libertini, what do I know him from? He was in The In-Laws. He was in Fletch Lives, Awakenings, Lethal Weapon 4. He was not in a TV show called Popeye. For some reason, I thought maybe he was a cop in one of those old TV shows like Fish or something. I'm going to look one more time. Was he a regular or regular? Maybe not. Oh, he was on the first season of Soap, which I was excited to try to check out, but they don't have a Christmas episode. What was there? And then, of course, following Pacific Station was Dear John, this episode. It had a rating of 7.8, which I feel like, again, TV shows would die for nowadays. But the show was on its last legs. This was the middle of the season, and then by the end of this season, the show was canceled. It was, when it first premiered, it was fairly popular. It was like a top 15 show. It was ranked 11, almost a top 10 show. I think Judd Hirsch and Kirk had a lot to do with that. In fact, in the second season, they gave him 24 episodes. Now it jumped up to 17 in the rankings, I should say, of TV shows. And then the following year, it jumped all the way down, or fell all the way down to 50. And then by the fourth season, it plummeted down to 77. Again, I feel like at this point, you're starting to see more cable shows, maybe more options. Every year, you'd feel like TV network shows have more and more competition. But that's it. I think that's the end. I don't really have much else to say about Dear John, except I wish the lyrics really were, but now the sun is dead and gone, and the world is being thrown into an ice age, and we're all dead. Thanks, John. Oh, the beginning, you hear him go, "Hi, honey, I'm home." It's actually like in the first season, it was like a little mini movie. He walks in, he finds the letter on his mantle, and then you see him just walking out of the house with his bag. You should have had a little knapsack on a stick. That's what it felt like. And he goes in, he looks up, and he sees a apartment for rent, and he gets an apartment, and then that leads him into meeting these people eventually. In the second season, the song was there, and they showed him pick up the letter, but then it was like, the beginning I saw was like cut with scenes of the actors and scenes from previous episodes of the show, which is pretty much, pretty much like a very common practice with shows that have been on for multiple years. Wow. I've been going way too long talking about this show that I wasn't crazy about. So I'm going to end it right now and let you guys get on with the rest of your day. So that is it. I'm done now. I'll be back tomorrow to do this all over again. And pretty soon, coming soon, we'll have my first guest of the year. I'm not going to spoil that yet, but he's a multi-time guest, and we talk about the same series every time. So we will be going back, revisiting a series very, very soon. But until then, I'm talking to him tomorrow night, so that show might not actually get out until Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure when I'm going to use it yet. We'll see. But until I talk to you again, you can find me on all the socials at Geek Mentality. I think Blue Sky is the one that you can get me the most at. That and TikTok. But the TikTok is Geek Mentality Mike. On Facebook, the Facebook page is Fans.Experts. On YouTube, the YouTube channel is Fans.Experts. That's because the website where all of these podcasts can be found is Fans.Experts.com. I thought of this years ago. I said, well, all these experts talking about on radio and blogs. I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan. That was too long. So I said, Fans Not Experts. It made sense to me at the time, and I've stuck with it for 11 years now, I think. Wow. Fans Not Experts. So check it out if you like this podcast or if you want to check out anything else I do. I'm on pretty much 99% of the podcast. There's one podcast my cousin does. Well, he did. I don't know. He doesn't really do it anymore, but it's still on there. But other than that, it's all me. Me and a cast of some people. A cast of at least two. But I will be back tomorrow again to talk more Christmas sitcoms. I've kind of lost track, and I realize I'm spinning out now, and I'm ready to go, but I'm not going to go back and edit it. So I'm just going to say thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I'm going to go now. I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, thank you again. See, I said it again. Oh, my God. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. I got to slow down, take a deep breath. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here is my theme song.
This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.